When I came out of Christianity, there's a few things that I learned or developed by seeing what I didn't like that I still either believe in or adhere to even after coming out as an atheist. Number 12, Christianity taught me to rely on myself. Now, this is a very positive way to lead toward autonomy, especially for people who've had autonomy taken from them before they were even born. Now, I do believe relying on yourself can become toxic or unhealthy if you isolate yourself and don't have conflicting difference of opinion or people in your life that may cause positive conflict or push you out of your comfort zone. But I prioritize my needs and pursue the life either for my own dreams or my own interest because I grew up in an environment and family that did not prioritize my emotional development or security. I had to rely on myself. Even though myself had no clue how to set boundaries or invest in taking care of myself. And this is a problem, especially when you're a woman under the age of 25, even though I'm over 30 now. I grew up in an environment where we were so dependent on each other and we gave very little to nothing back to each other. I mean, my family is so emotionally disengaged and neglectful. They don't see anything wrong with hearing that someone came out and then doing nothing. No congratulations, no support, not even checking in to make sure if the person is psychologically and emotionally okay. Nothing. So I was taught and basically trained from the cradle by everything to make me very complacent and relying on everyone. And I decided, you know what, I just want to rely on myself because myself is the only person I trust, even though I lived in an environment that told me never to trust myself, that little inner voice. And I think being an introvert, relying on myself, helped me crawl toward deconstruction. My personality, my life goals are in absolute contradiction to Christianity. I'm single, child-free, never married, never been in a relationship. I pursue what I like, what I want. Goes completely against every Christian doctrine I was ever taught. I was taught that what I want and what I need is not important because I'm a woman. I'm not the lead actor. I'm not the man. What I want, what I need are irrelevant. They're something that should be avoided, forgotten, destroyed, and never talked about. This is why purity culture is so damaging. Women are taught that their discomfort is normal and that if it impacts a man's comfort, your discomfort is erased or even worse, you're humiliated because you have expectations. I mean, gaslighting is a big thing too. And relying only on yourself taught me to set boundaries, to not accept an apology or a status quo just because that's what's expected of me. So I reject most of social constructs. I don't care what society expects of me. The only thing that matters is what I expect from society. What I want is the only thing that really matters to me. That doesn't mean I don't think about other people's feelings. Of course not. But how I view myself is really the only thing that matters to me. Once I feel confident about how I look and what I do, people's barbs and criticisms just don't matter. Now, I do listen to criticism because that's how you become a better person. But I've learned to recognize what is a positive criticism and just somebody either being jealous or seeing me as a threat. And it takes years to learn the difference. I want to be who I am. And if that's a constantly evolving process, that's fine. Life is an adventure. You have to grab hold of it, hang on, and head in whatever direction you need to go towards. And if a few miles down the road you realize, you know what, I don't like this, you can change. Hopefully for the better. That's not the case with everyone I know. So a lot of people in my family have decided, you know what, I'm not extreme enough in my religion, so let's go for it. And it's like, no. But that's their life. And the wonderful thing about being an atheist is I don't have to rely on anyone, male or female, for my spirituality. I don't have to rely on another person to be sexually satisfied. And I don't have to rely on anyone but myself to advocate for myself, to expect better, to refuse to accept people's lack of emotional labor. I'm just tired of being seen as a vending machine. And relying on myself and prioritizing what I want, what I need, and what I just will not tolerate is how you become an emotionally mature, safe, green flag kind of person. Anything less and you're cheating yourself. And I have discentered men and women from my life. And am I happy every day? Of course not. I suffer from depression and so many emotional disorders. I'd be an encyclopedia if I wrote them down. Every week I try to learn something new about myself. And that's why I make videos. Because a lot of mental anguish is not knowing, not understanding, and thinking you're alone. And if these videos help someone feel not alone, that somebody else went through this before them, and that many people are following just along behind them, they're less likely to feel depressed. They're less likely to feel suicidal and unhappy because other people have shown them that they're not alone. Even though in the family I grew up in, I was entirely alone. Physically, they were there, but emotionally, they might as well have been in Vegas. And I was in Alaska because they weren't there. So I taught myself to rely on myself. And if I have a need, I fill it myself. I will not rely on another person to pull me along in life. That doesn't mean sometimes I need somebody to come behind me and push me a bit. But no, I don't rely on a man to spiritually lead me because, in my opinion, that's just lazy living. I don't want someone to spoon feed me. Give me my own fork. Even though my doctor says I need to start putting down the fork since I'm twice my body mass, we are working towards that. Right now, instead of losing weight, I'm changing how I see myself. Because if you never change the way I see myself when I'm 200 pounds, being 125 pounds isn't going to change the way I see myself. If I don't like myself when I'm fat, I'm not going to like myself when I'm skinny. A lot of skinny people have eating disorders because some people can't break free of the cycle of seeing themselves in a bad way. And that's why I'm fixing my problems before I lose my weight. Or else, once I lose all that weight, I'm going to start looking for another problem or creating my own problem. And that's a big problem. Until you find out why you use food like a crutch fixing your weight problem is just going to cause you to choose another emotional crutch. You have to deal with the problem. And relying on yourself, it can be hard when you've been told your entire life you're never enough. Because you are. You are enough. You just may for a while not see yourself that way until therapy helps you see yourself in a better light. And that's why I don't need religion. I don't need made-up gods or myths. Because they teach you don't deserve anything. That you're wicked. I don't see myself that way. And that's a miserable way to exist. I want something better. Is it easy? Of course not. Some days I wake up and wonder, what the hell have I done now? But every day is an adventure. And every 6 months, I change. 6 months ago, I had just started classifying myself as an atheist. 6 months before that, I was still a Christian. So every 6 months, you might not even recognize yourself, because I sure don't right now. I don't recognize, 7 months ago, I wouldn't have recognized myself. So every day is an adventure. And hopefully every day I become a better person.